This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. Well, praise the Lord. Praise God. Thanks for joining us today for Voiceover In and Out. We're so glad to have you. Welcome again. Very soon, we will be releasing the spring schedule for our spring training season. And it will include several classes, some sort of digital cafes, and some more what we would call pro classes, which have a fee, except for if you are a gold customer, they don't have a fee. And then, of course, our free classes as well, including an iPad course, a Mac course, those types of things. So we will be giving you all of that information very soon. So what we want to make sure you do is that you subscribe to the newsletter if you've not already done so. I would imagine most of you in this class have already done so. And so you'll get the news on that next, couple of weeks. And you'll be given the information on how to sign up. But just remember that it is coming. So if you've not subscribed to the newsletter, you want to head on over to our website, ttjtech.biz. That's ttjtech.biz. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't actually link to a new page. So if you're not aware of what's happening and you're using VoiceOver, it'll seem like the page is the same, because it actually is. It brings up a little, like a modal, a little popover at the bottom of the screen, wherein you can enter your email address and submit. And we don't do any the system doesn't do like a welcome, like thank you for subscribing or anything like that. It's just once you've entered it and hit submit, you're subscribed. And the next time we send something out, then you'll get it. Now, most of you already are subscribed, but just want to make sure you have that opportunity, because that's where we'll be announcing the spring classes. So we want to cover sort of all of those things. We'll start with Wallet. We'll move on to Apple Pay, and then we'll go to Apple Card and Apple Cash. All right. In some order like that, definitely starting with Wallet. I'd like to jump into the world of digital wallet and digital payment. It's interesting to me. I read a book back in 1997 called The Road Ahead. And that book was written by Bill Gates. And he had talked about a lot of things that he saw coming in the future. And what's really, really interesting and even surreal to me is that the vast majority of the things that he talked about, maybe all of them, because I don't remember every detail of that book, okay? But a good portion of the things that he talked about being future innovations in technology have already happened, okay? Now, of course, Bill Gates was the CEO of Microsoft at the time, and most of the innovations came from Apple or Google or, some of those. But nevertheless, they've happened, right? And three of the biggest standouts to me, just because I remember reading about them in the book, was the smart home, which, we are definitely there. It's still growing, but we're definitely there. Okay. We've talked about smart home before. The second thing was he talked about digital books, e-reader type of devices. Well, we have that. And the third thing that really stood out as something that we absolutely have is the digital wallet. Now, his term was different because he was sort of using Microsoft PC 1990s lingo at the time, obviously. But in that parlance, he had used the term wallet PC, and he envisioned being able to sort of beam money directly to a cashier at a store, and then that cashier being able to immediately beam a receipt back to you. And I believe he had talked about, use of infrared or those kinds of things where, of course, we're using anything from Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to NFC when it comes to payment processing and that sort of thing. But it's here. It's here. That's the point. It is absolutely here. The days of the digital wallet are here, and it works great. And I believe Apple has the best innovation of it. There are some others. There's Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Android, whatever they call them. And some stores, some store chains have their own specific thing like Walmart Pay, that kind of thing. But definitely, I believe Apple Pay is the best of all of them. Let's retrace sort of the history of this a little bit. In iOS 6, way back in iOS 6, a new app came to the iPhone, and it was called Passbook. And that Passbook was designed to store and let you keep track of all of your passes, hence the name. And by passes, we meant airline boarding passes, train tickets, cards from like Starbucks, if you had like a Starbucks card, or gift cards from stores and things of that nature. And eventually, Passbook was renamed to Apple Wallet because it began to do a lot more. At its core, Apple Wallet still allows you to store your passes and still allows you to store your cards. And I have, for example, our Sam's Club membership card in Apple Wallet. I have my Starbucks card in Apple Wallet. When we've taken trips this summer, when we went to Disney World and we flew Delta Airlines, when we checked in, a day before, we got our boarding passes and added them to the Apple Wallet. And you could share them with everybody in the family. Even our Disney World Magic Mobile, was able to be done through Apple Wallet. All of those things could be done in Wallet. And you could have sometimes like coupons, like gift cards, or promotion cards, things of that nature, in your Apple Wallet. Target supports that, I believe, and a few others. So you can put almost anything in your Apple Wallet. All right. So that in and of itself is a good place to start understanding is what Wallet lets you do, is to store all these things, concert tickets, movie tickets, any of that stuff. You can, as long as it supports Apple Wallet, and a lot of things do. A lot of stuff really does. So that is a great way to even hotels. A lot of your hotels now, the major brands, IHG and Hilton and Marriott and so forth, they let you add the hotel stay to your Apple Wallet as well. How functional that is for a hotel is kind of dependent upon the individual hotel chain. Usually right now, most of them, to use a digital room key, you still have to go into their own app, like the Marriott Bonvoy app or the Hilton Honors app or something, and then you can do that. But they're going to eventually have your room keys able to be stored right in the wallet as well, according to what I understand. It's already supported for the key to your house on certain smart locks, not all. Just because a lock is HomeKit compatible doesn't guarantee that. It has to also be compatible with what's called Apple Home Key. But there are some that are. The Level Lock Plus, some of the new Yale SureLock devices are, SureLock, I guess you say, devices are. So there are some smart locks that support actually having the key in your Apple Wallet. And there are now some cars that support having the key in your Apple Wallet. A lot of the cars do support remote start through their own app. For example, my family and I have a Chevrolet Impala, and the My Chevrolet app allows you to start the car, unlock the car, sound the alarm, and a lot of other things, by the way, which is a bit of a rabbit trail, but it is really cool because you can see remote diagnostics, tire pressure, oil life. You can even see the fuel status. You can even locate where the car is. You can actually do all of that through the app, and a lot more, really. And that's very, very powerful. It does require an OnStar membership to do that, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. And other vehicles, with their respective brands, we use GM at this point, but there are other brands that certainly have their own apps as well and their own implementations of that. So a lot of them do that, but again, that's moving towards being able to eventually have the car keys in the Apple Wallet, and some cars already do. I think it's maybe BMW that already supports Apple Car Key, and maybe I don't know, but anyhow, you get the idea. So this Apple Wallet is very robust and really functions in a lot of ways just like a traditional wallet. There are even some states in the United States now that support having your driver's license or your ID right in the Apple Wallet as well. That's not every state yet, and I don't know if or when it will be, but it certainly is happening in some states. So it really truly is like a wallet, just a digital version of one, right? And it works great. You can share these passes, as I said, with other people, which was, really useful when we were doing things like traveling on Amtrak or airlines or things of this nature, you so that everybody has it, just so that it's all there, and they can add them to their wallet. And then so who's ever up first when they get to the jet bridge, the jetway, they can show the agent the ticket right on their phone. And so it really works well. And a lot of times it's like scanning a barcode, right? Again, Starbucks, that's another great example. You can purchase a card and refill it through the Starbucks app and add it to your Apple Wallet. And then and like I even have mine set up to auto recharge. So when my Starbucks balance gets below a certain point, it'll just replenish that with more money. And when I go to Starbucks, I can just hold the Apple Wallet with the Starbucks card up there, and the Starbucks barista or whatever they call them can just scan the barcode. Now, Apple Pay is separate, and Starbucks actually takes Apple Pay also, which we're going to talk about next. But just so you understand, this is just Apple Wallet. All these things can be stored in there. Okay. Now, excuse me. The next thing that happened was that Apple introduced Apple Pay. And this is when we got the Apple Wallet name, I do believe, if memory serves correctly. And Apple Pay takes things to the next level, okay? Do not be thinking about the Apple credit card right now. That's later. We're just talking about Apple Pay right now. So what is Apple Pay? Apple Pay is a secure way to pay for products in stores and restaurants and other retail locations, as well as online, using your existing payment methods, your credit card of choice, your bank card, whatever you want. And really what happens is you add those cards to your wallet as well, and they become part of Apple Pay. And so when you are shopping in a store and you go up to the counter or a restaurant or whatever, if you want to use Apple Pay, you assume that you already have the card added. We did that ahead of time, right? And we just simply double click the side button of our iPhones, and we authenticate with Face ID or a passcode. Certain phones, maybe it's the home button and Touch ID, but that's few and far between at this point. So we're going to just say Face ID. And then as soon as it authenticates, it just says, hold near reader. And you literally just bring your phone up to the credit card machine. It kind of might feel to you like it's sort of, using the camera, because that's kind of where you're holding it, but it's really not using the camera. It's using a special chip called an NFC chip. NFC stands for Near Field Communications. And it's using that built-in chip in the iPhone to communicate with the credit card reader. So a couple of questions we get about this, first, probably most obvious one is, how secure is it really? It's very secure. It's actually more secure than physically using most credit cards. And the reason for that is because when you add a credit card to Apple Pay or a bank card to Apple Pay, first of all, it's not stored online. It's stored in what's known as a secure enclave, a special hardware chip, part of the hardware of your iPhone, so that it's only on that phone. Now, the general information about the card is stored in iCloud so that it can easily be added to all of your devices, but the actual card itself, you have to confirm it. Like you'll notice if you set up a new device, it'll say, which cards do you want to add to Apple Pay? And it will have the basic information about your cards there on each one. But then it'll say like you need to enter your security code, or sometimes you even have to like contact your bank and verify it or something. Now the Apple card's a little easier, but we'll get to that. So anyway, though, they're stored only in the hardware. We're talking military grade encryption here. And the other thing is they're given a unique device card number instead of your actual real card number. And it's like a one-time use token that goes with it. So you're not giving somebody your real credit card number, even though it's able to see that as your card, and it will show, like it'll say, MasterCard ending in whatever it is, 5940 or something, right? And in other words, hopefully that wasn't somebody's last four digits. I honestly don't know anyone who has those. It was just random, I promise. But anyway, it'll say MasterCard ending in whatever, and that will look like your real card number. But what the merchant gets is not your actual card number. It's a randomized device number, and it's different every time. I'm understanding, so that if you ever do have a situation where a store that you used was hacked, and they say, well, if you used your credit card at such and such a store within the last 6 months, you probably should get it replaced because all those credit card numbers were taken. Well, yours won't be, because they didn't have your real credit card number. The number they got, they can do nothing with. So this is a benefit, one of the many benefits to Apple Pay, not to mention it's super convenient, of course, very, very easy to use. And so I think I've made that clear, but just to understand that. Now, the next question that I often get is, well, what if you have more than one card? Can you have more than one credit card or bank card stored in Apple Pay? And the answer is absolutely yes, you can. And in your settings, if you go to settings and then wallet and Apple Pay, you choose all the defaults, the default card, your home, your default billing address and shipping and all those things, phone number, email, all that stuff that's necessary in many cases to process a payment. But when you double click the side button at a merchant location and you're ready to pay, it will have on the screen, after you do the Face ID thing, and it'll say hold near reader. If you want to change anything, just don't hold it near the reader. Instead, swipe on the screen, find the option that says, using such and such a card, double tap and change it. All of your cards will be listed there. You can change your address, anything you want. Excuse me. And so just find that information. You might have to do a second authentication with Face ID then, but then you're ready to hold it near the reader to pay. Okay, so just be aware of that. You have some options there. And then, of course, we get the question, how do I do it? Because a lot of these credit card machines are not accessible, and we don't know what to do. Well, it finally has gotten within probably the past year and a half to 2 years, maybe a little bit more, where there really is nothing to do except when the cashier at the restaurant or the store or whatever says, okay, your total is $83.50. You literally just double click Face ID and hold it near the reader, and it will work. It used to be more complicated than that, mostly because people didn't know they could accept Apple Pay. And there are some machines that they do have to do something first. So, it might not be a bad idea to say to them, okay, I'm going to use Apple Pay. But it is really true now that most places, certainly not all, but many places, probably the vast majority, I'd even say, do accept Apple Pay. And what we found here, we live, most of you know, in a more rural area than some. I mean, it's not, where there's plenty of stuff around. It's, it's populated, but it's not, it's not a large city or anything. It's a small town, a lot of privately, locally owned businesses and restaurants and shops and stuff like that. And so, our area was at first a little bit slower to adopt Apple Pay, except in like the chain places that we have, like, McDonald's and Subway. And, a few minutes to our north, you have a lot of other stuff, Applebee's and Best Buy and Target and Dick's Sporting, all these other, very familiar places. And they were all accepting Apple Pay. But within our close by, sort of 10 miles any direction, we were kind of slower to adopt it, except at those, few chains. But then it started happening kind of by default, not even so much because the stores necessarily went out and said, we want to be able to accept Apple Pay, but because they were forced to upgrade their credit card machines anyway, either because they were getting old or, different reasons that stores and restaurants would upgrade their machines and their systems. And all of a sudden, they'd have support for the chip and they'd have support for tap to pay. And when they get the support for the tap, it typically enables support for Apple Pay automatically. So suddenly we had a whole plethora of new places that in our area accept Apple Pay. And even the really small businesses that traditionally only accepted cash are now they've gotten these like Square systems, which are really cool. And, it's in some cases they get a little reader, in some cases they just use their phones. But either way, if they use like Square or if they use QuickBooks or any of that stuff, they can take Apple Pay. So it's really accepted at a wide variety of places now. And most of your people now, if you go to a store, I mean, there's always exceptions to stuff, right? But most often, if you tell them I want to use Apple Pay, they're not gonna, be like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. Most of them know what it is now, and most of them have probably seen somebody do it, even if they don't really know for sure what it is or how to use it. That they'll say, oh yeah, I saw somebody in here last week did that with their phone, so I know we can do it. And basically it's just a matter of just try it. The biggest thing you might run into as somebody visually impaired is that you may not know precisely where to hold the phone. But again, if you're with family, friends, coworkers, just ask them to help you out. And if you're not, again, most of the cashiers and receptionists and what have you are plenty willing to help you line your phone up with their reader. So it's not hard. It's a very quick process, and it's super convenient. It's fast, it's easy, and it just works. And it's Apple Pay, and it uses your existing credit cards, bank cards, or otherwise. And I highly, highly recommend it. It's very secure, very private. And we're talked about in stores. Let's talk about online. Many websites and apps now accept Apple Pay, though not all. There are some notable exceptions, like Amazon, for example, but most of them, a lot of them do rather. And what is nice about websites that accept Apple Pay is that oftentimes, again, you'll find exceptions, but oftentimes on those websites that accept Apple Pay, you don't even have to enter all your information. You know what I mean? Like if you're shopping online and a website says, okay, you either have to create an account or sign into an account or check out as a guest. And so you fill out all this information, name, address, phone number, email, all these things. You don't have to do that. Usually, if you keep going down on the websites that accept it, they'll have these express checkout options, PayPal, Shop Pay, Apple Pay. And when you choose Apple Pay, it already provides all that information to the merchant. Your address, your email address, your phone number, everything is provided. So it's not only saving you the time of entering the card number, it is saving you tons of time in many cases. Now, again, there are some websites that are exceptions. They want certain information in a specific way from you. So when you choose Apple Pay, they'll still make you fill out some additional information first. But and the process is virtually the same when it asks you to double click to pay. So you'll have a screen when you choose Apple Pay on a website or in an app, you'll get a screen that will kind of confirm how much you're paying. And in some cases, it'll let you choose shipping options and stuff. And it, again, will have what you're paying with. So you can change the payment method if you have more than one card in Apple Pay stored, But then it'll say double click to pay. So you'll do double click and Face ID, and you don't have to hold it near a reader. It'll just process. I also would point out along those lines that when we're talking about paying on websites, remember, thank you, Lord, I almost forgot about this. Remember that there is also autofill in Safari where you can store credit card numbers. That is not Apple Pay. It is keychain, so it's still secure. It's still military-grade encryption, but it works for those websites that do not accept Apple Pay. Most of the time, they'll still be able to support autofill from your credit cards. That's not stored in Apple Wallet, though. That's stored under your Safari autofill settings. So that's two different places. And I think we covered that in a previous session. But do remember that that is different. That autofill credit card is not the same as Apple Pay. It's not in Wallet. It's in Safari settings. But also the other side of the coin is remember that you do have it. So that in a case where, for example, Apple Pay is not accepted on a website, you still may not have to enter the card number manually and all that because you can use autofill and it'll ask for Face ID and stuff. And most credit cards, it will still ask you to enter the security code manually. The Apple card is typically the exception to that, but most cards you'll have to enter the 3 digits on the back or whatever manually, or I guess 4 digits on the front in some cards. But you know what I'm saying. So that's different from Apple Pay, okay? But it's still a very convenient way to use your credit card on websites. Now, if you have an iPad or a Mac, I know this class is mainly about the phone, but we're going to be doing iPad and Mac in the spring. If you have an iPad or a Mac, they don't have the NFC chip for use with retail stores. But they do support Apple Pay on websites and in apps. Okay. So just so you're aware of that. The watch, on the other hand, the Apple Watch does have the NFC chip. And all you do on that is you double click the side button. That's the long button, not the digital crown. Okay. It's that long button. You double click that and just hold it up near the reader and it pays. And you say, well, wait a minute, there's no Face ID or anything. How is it secure? Can't anybody just double click the side button? No, because it uses wrist detection. So when the watch is on your wrist, when you first put the watch on every morning or whenever you put it on, you might recognize that you have to unlock your watch either with its passcode or with your iPhone or whatever. Once it's unlocked, as long as it stays in contact with your wrist, it will be able to be used with Apple Pay. But if it's taken off, it immediately instantly locks, and now it won't. You have to re-enter that passcode and stuff. So it's not like somebody can just take your watch and use it with Apple Pay. It doesn't work that way. It's still very secure. All right, so we've covered Apple Pay pretty well, I think, and how it works and everything. And what I'd like to go to now is the Apple Card and Apple Cash. And I'd actually like to start out with Apple Cash because if my memory serves, that was released well before the Apple Card. So the Apple Cash was sort of initially marketed as a way to send money to other people and receive money from other people using iMessage, right? That was the basis of that whole thing. To explain it a little more clearly, Apple Cash, now remember, I told you before, you know what Wallet is, you know what Apple Pay is, right? You're taking notes. Wallet is where you store all your cards and your passes. Apple Pay is the system of making payments through stored credit cards and bank cards in your wallet. Well, Apple Cash actually just acts like another card that you can store in your wallet for use with Apple Pay. Apple Cash kind of acts like the best analogy that I can think of is like if somebody buys you for Christmas or you get from like signing up for cable service or something, they'll say, we're going to send you $100 Visa gift card. And eventually that comes to you. You activate it by phone or online, and now you have $100 you can spend, right? It's not a credit card. It's actual, it functions same as cash, and there's a limit to it, whatever's on the card, and some of them can be refilled, some of them maybe not so much, but you know what I'm saying. You take that to a store, it's got $100 on it, you spend $50, now you have 50 left to spend some other time whenever you want. That is the closest analogy I can think of for the Apple Cash card, because it gets stored in your Apple Wallet and it can be used to make purchases with Apple Pay. The difference is when you first get the Apple Cash card, there's no money in it. So how do you get money in it? Well, there's probably 3 ways, maybe more. But the ways that I'm thinking of right now, number one, is that somebody sends you that money. So kind of like the Visa gift card, right? So, somebody decides, I'm going to send you for Christmas $85, and they'll send it to you through the Messages app or the Wallet app now. Actually, you can send and receive directly in Wallet. but I think it's probably more common in messages. I guess it could be either one. And they send you that money, and now it is in your Apple Cash. We'll talk about the process for that in a moment, okay? But they send it to you, and you now have it. So you've got $85 now that somebody sent you. And then another time somebody sends you $100. Well, now that adds to it. So you've got $185, okay? So this is Apple Cash, and that's probably the best or most direct way to get money into your Apple Cash card. But it's not the only way. Another way is to add money to your Apple Cash balance yourself. How do you do that? Well, you do it from a um, debit card that you have in your Apple Wallet. So you cannot use a credit card for that. You have to use a debit, like a bank card. So if you've got a bank card stored in your Apple Wallet, if you don't, I recommend adding one. And then you can now add money to your Apple Cash balance directly from your bank, and it will not charge you a fee. There's no fee to do it. So, you say, I want to add $20 to my Apple Cash card from the bank. So I just go in there and I do it, and I have it instantly. My Apple Cash balance is $20 greater now because of that decision I made to do that. Okay. Notice two things about that. It cannot be a checking account. It has to, well, no. Please disregard that. I apologize. It absolutely can be a checking account. It doesn't have to be a savings account. But what I'm trying to say is you're not doing it by using the checking account number and routing number for your bank. You have to do it from a stored debit card. In other words, one of those, ATM cards or whatever you want to call it, which you can also use in stores and so on. They have their own card number on them and expiration date and everything. And if you add one of those from a bank to your Apple Wallet, then you can add money to Apple Cash yourself by getting it from your bank. And again, there's no fee to do that. Now, what if you ever receive Apple Cash that you want to put into the bank, by the way, while we're talking about banks? Now, then is when you need your bank account routing number and checking account number. And you can store your bank information in there. And now there's going to be an option to transfer to bank. And so whatever money is in your Apple Cash balance, either all of it or a portion of it, whatever you choose, you can transfer to your bank. There are two options when you transfer it: the free way with no fee, and the way that has a fee. When it has a fee, it actually is using your debit card, and it does, I don't know what the percentage is. It's not huge. It's, a couple dollars depending on what you're transferring, but it's supposed to be there instantly or within 30 minutes or something. The free way that there is no charge for, I think it says it takes 1 to 3 business days. I only have ever typically seen it take 1 day. Now a weekend would be different. That would add time to it. But like normally, if I put money in there, like let's say before 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, it's going to be in there by Wednesday. Okay. So that's transfer to bank. And it's, the exact time it takes is dependent upon the bank that you have, I suppose. But really and truly, it's not bad, and it's free that way. So that's transferring the other direction from the Apple Cash card money that you get or have in there to your bank. If you want to do that, that does require your routing number and checking account number to be stored in your Apple Wallet under the Apple Cash settings. You can do that, and it's a linked bank account, and it's very wise to do that, in my opinion. And again, this is Apple Cash. So we've talked about 2 ways that you can get money into Apple Cash, as well as a way to get it out to your bank. And of course, when it's in Apple Cash, as I think I've made clear, I hope I've made clear, it acts just like any other Apple Pay card. So if I am eating at a restaurant and my bill is $57.50, and I happen to have, $70 in my Apple Cash card, well, I've got more than enough to pay that $57.50 at the restaurant. I just simply hold my phone up, and instead of choosing whatever my default credit card is, I choose Apple Cash. It'll show you the balance, and you can make the payment to the restaurant using your Apple Cash card. Please hang on, folks, and I'll be right back with you. Okay. Anyway, just saying hi to my son there. So that's Apple Cash, and it works just like another card. Now, I mentioned a couple of ways to get the money into your Apple Cash. Somebody sends it to you in messages, and you can send it to somebody else too. So let's just talk about how that's done. We demonstrated that, if you recall. We did demonstrate it when we were doing a lab on the Messages app, probably our maybe first or second, maybe third experience lab that we ever did this year. And I sent Cliff a whole $1. Wow. Remember that? And I went in there. So all you did was go to the Messages app, you open the conversation that you had, and you choose the apps button, which for those folks who are sighted, it's a plus sign now. And then you'll see Apple Pay in there, and you can choose the amount, and you can send or request money. And you'll have to do your Face ID when you hit send and stuff. You can add a little message in there to go with it. You used to be able to use SIRI to send money, and you still might be able to. There was, I don't know whether it was iOS 15 or 16, there was what seemed like a bug where Siri wouldn't send the money. It would say it was going to, but then it just wouldn't do anything. And so I kind of stopped trying it for a while. So I don't know, maybe they fixed that in 17, but I haven't really looked. It's pretty convenient just to use the Messages app. And now you can also use the Wallet app directly. If you open the Wallet app and open the Apple Cash card, you can choose in there to send and I think request money as well. So that's how we send money to people. So we know how to get Apple Cash. We add it by receiving it as a gift or some other way, or we add it from our bank. But there's one other way that you can get money in your Apple Cash card, and that is by using the Apple credit card, which brings us to our next Apple Wallet sort of topic, the Apple Card. So the Apple Card, of course, works with Apple Pay, obviously. And of course, it gets stored as yet another card in your Apple Wallet. So what's the benefit of it over any other credit card that I might have? Well, there are several benefits, in my opinion. One of the biggest ones is that the whole thing lives in the wallet instead of having to require, let's say, a Chase app or a Barclay app or anything, even though those apps are pretty accessible. I'm not knocking them, but everything is done directly in the Apple Wallet. Another benefit to this is that it's so of course it's fully accessible. Another benefit to it is that it is designed from the ground up to be digital and used with Apple Pay and works best with Apple Pay. But it also has a physical card you can request. It's made of titanium, so it's a nice metal heavy card. It does not have the card number written on it, so it's a very anti-theft oriented. It doesn't people can't get the credit card number from it. The credit card number is stored in your wallet if you ever do need to use it. If somebody says, I need the actual numbers, or if you're storing it online somewhere that doesn't take Apple Pay, it does have numbers, expiration, security code, all those things. But if they're found on your phone, you have to use Face ID to get them, or Touch ID, on an iPad or phone, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they're securely stored and you can access them if you need them. All the payments happen through Wallet with your linked bank account. So you link a bank account in there and you make your payments each month, whatever you need to pay. Apple Card supports daily cash, which means every day that you spend money, you get money. If I spend something on the Apple Card today, I will wake up to additional money in my balance tomorrow. And where does it go? Well, by default, it goes to Apple Cash. That's another way to get money in your Apple Cash card. And you get 3% when you purchase from Apple or a few other places that have chosen to do that. Like I think it's T-Mobile and Panera Bread and Nike, maybe a few others, Walgreens or something, I forget. Uber, they support 3% daily cash. Then 2% daily cash for any other place that accepts Apple Pay if you use Apple Pay. Okay. 2% daily cash if you use Apple Pay at other places. And if you must use the physical card, you still get 1% daily cash. And so this is a very nice way to earn some extra money while you're using the Apple Card. You can pay stuff with it and then, get some money for it. So it's a nice added benefit. And basically the thing to do is, try to pay it off each month. Of course, that's good financial health practice anyway. But if you can't, they give you other amounts options to reduce your interest, or custom amounts you can enter, and you can even schedule payments to occur automatically, or you can manually make payments in the wallet app, again using your linked bank account. It shows you how much is going to be due by the end of the month, and how much it recommends you pay off the last month's balance, and all sorts of things of that nature. It lets you track your spending. It shows you where you spent, what kind of business it was, with the establishment, all of these. I mean, very, very good. And you even get notifications right on the phone when things are charged to the Apple Card. And this is so convenient. I go to a restaurant or something and they'll say to me, "Do you need a receipt?" And I say to them, "No, I don't need a receipt. It's going to be on my phone. I can just access it there." So I don't have to even bother with a receipt, right? Because I'll see it in my wallet app anytime I want to. I can go in there and see the transactions, the weekly spending, all of this stuff. You can add other family members. So you apply for the Apple Card right in the wallet. And in most cases, you will have an instant decision with a credit line of credit amount, and you can accept the offer. And if it is approved, if you are approved, you can start using it right away with Apple Pay. It can automatically be made the default for your Apple account, for iTunes purchases and things of that nature. It'll get added to autofill in Safari. And then if you request the physical card, it'll come in a few days, and it's easy to activate by just opening the little case that it comes in and holding it near your phone. You don't have to call anybody to activate it or anything. It's super, super easy. But as I was going to say, you can also, once you've done all that, you can add family members, which I think you can have up to 5 additional family members. And there's even a child version where they can, I think they have to be 12 or 13 years of age, but then they can have access to the card, but you can set spending limits for them. So you can actually, say, well, I only want my son or my daughter to be able to spend $100 in any one purchase, or $50, or whatever amount you want, and you can increase that as they show their responsibility and as they get older. And then of course you can entirely remove the limit at any point if you choose to do so. And by the way, you can have Apple Cash for your family members too. That all can be set up with family sharing. Now, the other aspect of this, and by the way, just so you know, Apple Card is the issuing bank there is Goldman Sachs, although it has been pretty much all but confirmed, and maybe it has even been confirmed at this point, that Apple and Goldman Sachs will be ending their partnership sometime after next year or late next year, in which case, of course, Apple will find another issuing bank. There's already some discussion about rumors about who they might be using. So, some of these terms, I suppose, could change a little bit, but, those kinds of things happen at times. It doesn't really, nothing to worry about, but, just so you understand that. But they've also done the Apple Card savings account. And what this does then is this has a very high yield interest, like a 4.5 or something % interest rate for money that you put in it. No penalty on money that you take out of it. And basically you can, instead of having your daily cash that I mentioned go to your Apple Cash card, you can have it go to your Apple Card savings account, and it starts earning this high 4.5% interest or something that it's accruing. So that's a really, really nice way to add, money to your life, right? So Apple Card savings account, you can choose that your daily cash automatically goes in there. And then if you want at any point, you can transfer all or a portion of that savings account money to your Apple Cash or your linked bank account. So that's another feature, which is the savings account. And I think that's been rolled out on a wide rollout basis now. It was sort of, I think, a select rollout at first, but I think more and more people are seeing it as an option in their Apple Card. And the other thing they've started rolling out too is Apple Pay Later. Now, Apple Pay Later is like 4 easy payments over either, I don't know if it's 1 payment a week or 1 every 2. I forget what it is, but it's not a long-term, but it's like a same as cash kind of thing, interest-free. So if I have a $1,000 item, I can pay it off in 4 payments or something. And that's a new feature you can add. And when you do Apple Pay Later, you have to request the amount anytime that you want to use it. It's not like it just stays there. Because I was confused about that. I was one of the early adopters of it, I suppose, maybe not earliest, but somewhat early. And I was able, praise God, I didn't even really need it. I just wanted to try it. But I thought that it could just stay in there, like I would have unconditional approval to spend whatever amount that I chose in there, but that's not how it works. So I was approved for something, but now I found that if I want to actually use it, I'd have to do the approval process again. And it's a quick process. I mean, it takes what, a minute or two. But it's another feature you have, Apple Pay Later. So these are all Apple Pay things. And I think, the whole package is really, really powerful when it is used in combination with all of the other features. You can have your family members in there. My daughter she's only 11, so she's not eligible for an Apple Card yet. I do think you have to be 13, because I think I remember it was my son opened a bank account, and I think they said you could be 12 to open the bank account, but we said you had to be 13 to open the Apple Card, something like that. But my daughter does have the Apple Cash Card, and that's really cool because she likes to do those things independently. And, she'll see something at a store that she wants to buy, and she'll just want to use her phone, or if she doesn't have her phone with her, she'll say, I'll send you money for this. But I'll say to her, you don't need to buy this. I'll buy it for you. But no. She wants to, to do that. So I think it's a cool way to help kids learn too, with, practice with finances in a controlled environment. Used to have to do it with that. What would they call that thing? When I unmute Trainer Cliff, he'll know because he used it with his kids. I think I was like green light, or not green. I don't know. Anyway, he'll know, I'm sure, when I unmute him. But it is, you don't even need to do that anymore, because that was cool, but the accessibility was hit or miss in the setup process. And I didn't end up doing it with my kids. I just waited because I had heard that Apple Cash Family, was coming at the time, or whatever they called it. And so sure enough, it did. And you can, it was a good way. And then the Apple Card has the spending limits you can set and all these different things. So, I mean, it's really, it's a great system for families. It's a great system for individuals. And quite honestly, it's a great system for co-workers and businesses even. Of course, if you're a, true business doing actual business deals, you may want to do something like Square or QuickBooks. I am a fan of both. I have both. I started out with Square years ago because they were one of the pioneers in this for small businesses and stuff that wanted to use their iPhone. And they used to send you a free card reader years ago. And then whenever they got the upgraded version that supported the chip and Apple Pay and stuff, there was a small fee for that, but there's no monthly fee for Square. And you could set up products. You can do quick payments, one-time payments, manual credit card entry, and you can even do online links for people to pay and online inventory. And it's a very, very accessible app. So I was a big fan of Square. But what I found was when I set up the online payment links, that the front end that the customer would use was not the most accessible in the world. You could do it, and probably an advanced user could figure it out. I was walking people through it and they'd get it, but it was always a little bit inaccessible to some degree. It was kind of hit or miss. And I thought, well, it is what it is. But then I got an invoice from somebody who had done some work for us on a garage door that needed a new torsion spring. And I got this invoice and I clicked the link to pay it. And I was super impressed how accessible and how easy it was. All the buttons were labeled. Apple Pay was labeled, everything like that. I thought, I need to figure out what payment system he's using. And sure enough, when I got the receipt or whatever, I realized it was QuickBooks. So I said, praise God, I'm downloading the QuickBooks app now. Now, theirs does have a monthly fee, but it's not bad. And the app is also pretty accessible. I don't, if I'm being brutally honest, I like the Square app better than the QuickBooks app, but it's not so much, it's not really an accessibility concern. It's just that QuickBooks enables me to do so much more, which is a good thing if you want to do all those things, right? But it's so much more that sometimes when you look at the QuickBooks app, finding things is a little bit more complex because of how much there is in the app. You can do it. It's all accessible. You can find it. It works, right? And it's really great for the customer. So I have both. And just depending on what I'm doing, if I'm processing somebody's credit card over the phone or even in person, I would use the Square app because the Square app also supports tap to pay from the iPhone. So I don't even need to use a card reader to take somebody's credit card. But if I were doing an online invoice that I'd send to somebody, I have decided now that I will use QuickBooks for that because it does work well. And both, allow you to link your bank account and get the money within, a day or two into your bank, like overnight. It transfers to my bank and stuff like that automatically. I have it set to do those payouts. So if you are looking for, ways to accept credit cards and take payments, those are some options for you, QuickBooks and Square. And also our Universe app, which we told you about before, which is our website builder. That has built-in support for e-commerce, for taking payments, even for printing shipping labels. Again, you link a bank account, it does the payouts every day or two. So that's another system that I use, just depending on the situation, depends on which one I use. And if you are, let's say, a church or a nonprofit of some sort otherwise, and you're looking for ways to accept donations, all of the above will work. You can do Apple Cash, you can do Square, QuickBooks, Universe, and you do have options like the Cash App, Venmo, and even PayPal. I'm not, whatever. I won't even get into that, but those are all options that you can use.
If somebody is on SSI, like for example, if people get like $700 a month, would that like qualify for SSI or not really? For the Apple card or no? I meant.
Well, in order to get an Apple card, you'll go through a credit check process. So there's really not any way that I can answer, what the qualifications are, but they are pretty good, supposedly, about if you're declined, they make recommendations to you. And I think there's even like a program you can go through that, they try to tell you how to improve your credit. But yeah, there's really no way that I would be able to answer that. It's just, a standard credit check pretty much. God bless you, everybody, and thanks for joining us. Take care and have a great weekend.
We'd like to thank you again for joining Voiceover In&Out 2023. Didn't get your question answered? Need additional training? Send us an email at support@ttjtech.biz or support@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with the U. That's STURITUP.com. I'm Trainer Cliff. Thanks for joining us and see you next time. God bless.